Hello and welcome. We'll be working on the time formula for today. And the time formula is very similar to the speed and the distance formula. So I'm going to start off with the speed formula, which is the first thing that we've been doing. S is equal to d over t. And I showed in the previous video, and here is speed again. Speed, d for distance, and t for time. And we went over how to use it and how to change it into the next form. And the next form, we're going to go ahead and reuse this. I said that if we go ahead and multiply both sides by time, then what will happen is this will cancel out, and we now have a distance formula. And the distance formula is d equal to the speed times time. So if you were to put in a speed, whatever that number is, 60 miles per hour, 600 miles per hour, 5 feet per second, whatever that speed is, whatever the rate is, plug it in, multiply it times the time, and you'll figure out how far something has traveled. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is how to get from the distance formula to the time formula. So let me just rewrite this, and we have distance is equal to speed times time. Okay. Now, my next step is I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides. Let's find a brighter color, or I'm sorry, a darker color. And we're going to divide both sides by S. And we can go ahead and do this because as long as we're doing something to the left side of the equation, we do the same thing to the right side of the equation. Just as with the distance formula, we multiply both sides by t, the letter t, to get the distance formula. Same thing. This is our last version. Okay, there's no more versions. It's just those three. And let's go ahead and cancel out S on this side. And we now have just t by itself, t for time. And I'll write this out in all of its simplicity. So time is equal to distance over speed. Now I have to tell you, this is by far the most interesting formula of all three, and I'll tell you why. With the other two, if I wanted to, say, figure out how fast I'm running or how fast something is without a speedometer, I would go ahead and use speed. So for example, let's say I was going to throw a baseball and I knew how far I was throwing, and I had a stopwatch. I could figure out the speed. Okay, so that's great for baseball players or anybody in the sports field. If I was, yeah, basically that's how I would figure out the speed. With the time equation, or sorry, with the distance equation, let's say I didn't have a ruler, I would figure out with the speed. So if I was in a car and I knew exactly how fast I was going, then I would just look at the clock and note the difference, and I could tell how far I've gone. With the time formula, I can actually predict the future in certain limited ways, and that's the big point. In certain limited ways, I can actually predict the future, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and give an example. Here is our example. Let's say we are supposed to be at the airport and we're driving in this wonderfully comfortable limo, stretch limo, of course, nothing but the finest. And there you go. Got to get some windows. Okay, and the chauffeur is saying, okay, we've asked the chauffeur, how fast are we going? And he says 75 miles per hour. So traffic is looking pretty good, but we have to be at the airport in 30 minutes. So let's just say that the time is right at the top of the hour. In 30 minutes time, so the minute hand will be pointing down at 6. So let's go ahead and move this down. So this is at 6 and the top is at 12. This is 30 minutes time that well, actually, let's see. Yeah, we have to be there in 30 minutes. Okay. But we're not going to be using 30 minutes, right? We're trying to find out how long it's going to take us. We just know we have to be at the airport in 30 minutes so that we can make our flight. Chauffeur says we're going at 75 miles per hour. And I look up and I see a sign that tells me, here, let's go ahead and put that sign up. And it says airport is 25 miles away. 25 miles. And that is the distance to the airport. So, I know I'm going 75 miles an hour. I have to go 25 miles and I have to get there in 30 minutes. And the worst thing I feel is worrying whether I'm going to make it on time or not. And so instead of going through this whole process of worrying and wondering and stressing out the poor chauffeur, I've decided to use the math that I've learned over the years and figure out when I'm going to get there and how much time I have. So this is when we use the time formula to predict when we're getting somewhere. Okay, so I'm rewriting the time formula as time is equal to distance over speed. Did I just double checking? Okay, good, very good. Double checking that. Okay. I know the distance, which is 25 miles. And here, I'll just rewrite it over here. Time is equal to 25 miles over 75 miles per hour. Okay. So 25 divided by 75. If I don't happen to know that type of math, I'm going to take out a common factor instead and just do it the old-fashioned way of finding equivalent fractions. So 25 divided by 5 up top and 5 down below. That turns out to be, so 25 divided by 5 is 5 over 75 divided by 5. That turns out to be 15. Well, I can take out another factor of 5 up top and down below. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And that's about as simplified as I can get this fraction. And we have to remember to put in the correct units. So we want to find time. We have miles per hour. This miles and this miles, these two terms cancel. So I am left with 1/3 of an hour. But what in the world is 1/3 of an hour? Because if I were to tell the chauffeur, hey, we're going to be there in 1/3 of an hour, he's going to look at me crooked and cross-eyed. So I have to figure out how many minutes that is. I think it'll make more sense as minutes. So if I have 1/3 of an hour, let me go ahead and draw my clock. And, okay, the clock in one turn is worth 60 minutes. So if 20 minutes should be right there. And if I think about the 20 minutes as one block of time, the next set of 20 minutes should be 40. So the first one is 20, second one is 40, the last one is 60. And that looks to me like a fraction here, and I'll get a nice highlighted color so that way we can make sure that it's visible. That's pretty good. Alright. Now, this section is 1 out of 3 possible sections. So, okay, let's see. 1 out of 3 possible sections. So this is 1/3 of an hour right here. So 20 minutes is the same as 1/3 of an hour. So 20 minutes will be our answer. Okay, we could also think of it, and we could also figure it out by doing the tried and true way of we take our 1/3 hour times 60 minutes, right, per hour. 60 minutes per hour. Multiply 60 times 1/3, that should get us our minutes. And the reason why I put 60 minutes over 1 hour is because I want to cancel out hours divided by hours. I really want to make sure that the hours cancel each other out, so that way I am left just with minutes. So let's go ahead and cross these out. This term cancels, that term cancels, and I am left with 60 divided by 3, because 60 times 1/3 is just 60 divided by 3. And if I'm pretty decent with math, with dividing, I know that 3 goes into 60 20 times. And that 20 is minutes. So I have 2 ways of doing it. I'm sure there's plenty more, but I have 2 ways of doing it. I could have either visually thought about the sections of an hour and that I knew that 20 minutes is 1/3 of an hour, or I could have done just a mathematical conversion without even thinking about it. 1/3 times 60 minutes over an hour. The 2-hour terms cancel, and what's left is 60 minutes up top. Okay? So I know that 20 minutes will pass. I have about 10 minutes. Hopefully there's no traffic or no parades going on in the street or who knows what happening. So if the chauffeur is still driving at 75 miles per hour the whole way through, then we should be able to get there at least with 10 minutes to spare. So there you go. That is an example of predicting the future, and I think that is very helpful sometimes when we're faced with either long trips or we have to go through and figure out how much time some project is going to take. So the time formula is perfect for figuring it out, when I'll be able to finish something. Okay? There you go. That is it.